Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Weeknights. I'm JD, aka He Who Pods, aka Rearview Mirror.
And I'm Dash, aka Dash D, aka the real king of R&B.
Holler. Speaking of kings, let's keep it on royalty. Revolt put up a post saying the queen is coming. They were
Which
speaking.
queen would that be?
I'm about to say they were speaking about a very specific person, and that's Nicki Minaj. 2 days ago, they put up a post saying that Nicki Minaj has announced her next album. Oh, sorry. Nicki Minaj announced that her album is coming out on 3/27/26. That will be March, ladies and gentlemen. That is almost 6 months from now. Exactly 6 months from now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 months.
6 months from now. Now, I'm going to be honest here.
Okay.
I think there's only one reason we get this announcement.
One reason we get this announcement, or one reason we get this announcement now?
Same thing. I think there's only one reason Nicki announced this 6 months early.
Okay.
And I think that's because right now Cardi B's on a tear. Cardi B is on every podcast promoting her album and her pregnancy and everything else. Right, exactly. She's on every podcast, every platform, every screen you would turn on. Cardi B is there speaking about her new album.
Should we have messaged her and asked her to come on the show?
I don't think our intern messaged Cardi B, but we can speak.
We probably could have got her this time.
Probably, but she would have asked for me not to be here.
Why is that?
I'm making jokes.
Oh my gosh, I was about to say.
Nah, just jokes.
You know?
Yeah, so I think that's why Nicki's announcing this so early. Now, I'm not mad at Nicki releasing another album. Her last album was pretty good. We spoke about it here. Her last tour did phenomenal. We spoke about that here as well. But I think this only is here to try to rain on the Cardi B parade. It's my opinion. I ain't saying it's facts. It's my opinion.
I get it. I understand.
What do you think?
I think what you're saying is quite possible. I also think that it is okay, if that's what it is okay to allow Cardi to shine for a few weeks. I see, was it Young Thug who said, I mean, he's not a female rapper, so not quite the same, but Young Thug said that he was going to wait to release his Light Skin album, not the same week as Cardi. So he's been holding off on releasing his Light Skin album.
This is smart
later.
Move.
I'm sorry?
This is a smart move.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the cover, but he's a different complexion now, or is in the album cover. It's very strange. That's why I keep calling it the Light Skin album. For anybody who's wondering, go look it up. Wow. I don't know what happened there. But more power to him. Anyway, the point was that he waited, and he acknowledged that he waited. It's okay to, people do this all the time. Hey, Jay-Z's album is coming out. Not gonna drop that day. Not gonna make my announcement that week. I'm gonna work around it and they do this because it could work in your favor. It could work in your favor to work around other people. And it could work against you. Obviously, it's the opposite, but it could work against you to try to compete. Sometimes you do split the vote, even though that's not what it is. But sometimes you do. And with everything that Cardi B has done to promote this album, I don't think that Nicki made the impact she might have hoped to have made. because I still see nothing but Cardi in
Right.
all of my timelines. I happen to scroll past the Nicki thing, but that's because we have a very curated experience on our weeknight social media, so it's absolutely going to serve us that content. But
Right.
I'm not I'm not even seeing it there as much as one would think.
Right.
One, I think it's very far away.
Yeah.
And people listen, I like the excitement. I said this the other day. I like the build up. I like the excitement of talking about, okay, there's music coming out or whatever it is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with announcing it 6 months out, but I also think that people's attention spans are so, everything is so fleeting these days that you could have just waited. You could have even waited until next week
Yeah.
or a few weeks from now, and you probably would have created way more buzz than releasing it in the midst of Cardi's album rollout. It's just it's just honestly, it's kind of silly, and it's kind of amateur
Why you say
for,
that?
because I just feel like, I think that there's this assumption that there's this impact that's going to happen and somehow take the spotlight away from Cardi. And I
Okay.
think that Nicki and her people know better than that.
Okay. Okay.
I think that Nicki's been in the game long enough to know, like, sometimes when the hit is hitting, that's it. And that's
Right.
where we're at right now with Cardi. Cardi's rollout was like, people may say what they want about Cardi being pregnant and all of that, but all of this happened all at the same time. And so people have no choice but to talk about it. And that's great when you're releasing an album. That's what you want. You want people focused and fixated. And even the people who are out there saying terrible things about Cardi are still moving the conversation. So I think this was, even if one had nothing to do with the other, at the point where you saw where Cardi's promo was going, and it's hard not to notice, I'd have been like, nah, we're gonna pull that announcement back a few weeks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that this was an accident. That's what I'm saying. That's why that's my
Mhm.
thought. Like, I think this was intentional, and it was like, oh, there's a lot of noise over there. Maybe if I say this, it'll bring the noise down a little bit. And I
But
think
that's a
that's
miss.
it's a myth. You said
A miss.
a miss.
If that's the goal, I don't think I don't think the
It
goal
worked.
was achieved.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I don't think. And let me be clear. I don't think there's anything wrong with a slow roll, right? If you
Yeah.
normally announce an album 6 months before, or even if you just feel like, hey, this time I want to announce my album 6 months before, that's fine. But the timing is really weird, and we know the history, so
Yeah.
it's hard to think anything but you did
Hmm.
this to try to silence some of Cardi's what I guess they feel is noise or buzz or whatever word you want to use. And so, yeah, I mean, slow rollout, cool. There's nothing wrong with a slow rollout. I think I
Nothing.
think that's absolutely fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm a believer in that. But
Me too.
one, Nikki doesn't need to do that, and two, the timing is too obvious.
She doesn't need to, but I do think that if you want to create a certain level of energy and excitement today, I think that it's going to have to take a bit more work. And maybe slowly artists are realizing that the Sneak album was cool several years ago, but the Sneak album is not as exciting as it used to be. When you resurface and release an album in the middle of the night, yeah, people are gonna listen to it, and sure, like, your fans are gonna be hyped that you're releasing new music. That's absolutely true. But as far as impact and how widespread that is, I don't think it's the same as it used to be.
I think it
It was,
depends who does it.
sure, but you know, it was I don't want to name any names, but I just feel like there was a time where that was happening, and then it became the norm, and now we're in that norm. And do something different, do something creative, get people excited, and maybe you will see your numbers go even further than they normally do. Not that Nicki needs help. I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that Nicki doesn't have the reach. She absolutely does. But
Yeah.
if this is what you want to do, if you want people to pay attention to you, then by all means do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the Sneak album at this point. I'm like, all right, do some work. Y'all be real lazy with the promo, and maybe it's just because they don't have the budgets to do it. I don't know, but somebody like Nicki Minaj should take advantage of the money people are willing to spend on her.
Okay, fair point. Speaking of budgets, let's talk about the CEO of Live Nation and his comments.
A goddamn liar. Sorry.
You beat me to it. This comes from Genius, believe it or not. It says Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino says concert tickets are, quote, underpriced. There's a quote here. It says that he said, oh, okay. He said it on a specific platform, so they're quoting him. It says, music has been underappreciated. In sports, I joke, it's like a badge of honor to spend 70 grand for a Knicks courtside seat. They beat me up if we charge $800 for Beyonce. He said that at CNBC's Game Plan Conference. He also said, we have a lot of runway left. So when you read about ticket prices going up, the average concert price is still $72. Try going to a Laker game for that, and there's 80 of them. The concert is underpriced and has been for a long time.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that go to these shows. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of people. You could find a way to keep the cost low. Hundreds of thousands of people. And it's not like anyone's saying people are not attending concerts. No one's saying that. We have never, in all of the things that we've heard about Ticketmaster, Live Nation, all of these things going on in the last couple of years, we've never heard anyone say no one wants to go to shows. No one wants to go to these events. So to tell me that the tickets are underpriced, and to tell me that you can't find a way to regulate ticket prices so that they are affordable. It's like the stupid girl that said the other day that Pilates is a luxury. Not the same thing, but just as stupid. Like, you're talking about filling up arenas.
That's funny.
You're talking about filling up arenas. How much do you expect for people to pay in order to fill up these arenas? I don't. Concert tickets should not be $800. They should not be $1,000. No, I rebuke that. I don't believe that. There's nothing you can say to me. Don't show me any data. I don't want to see it. This is one of those things where it's just like, figure it out. It's not a 50 people concert that only 50 people in the world will see. It's hundreds of thousands of people that are attending these shows and selling these shows out. What are you talking about? You can't lower the price. Lower the price. I'm tired of this. It's
Fox
nonsense.
News put out an article in July. And it says, new research reveals that skyrocketing ticket prices in 2025 are making it increasingly difficult for fans to see their favorite artists perform live, with some paying over $1,800 to see a single show. SeatPick, a ticket comparison site, analyzed data for average ticket prices on Ticketmaster from this year's biggest touring acts. The top 10 artists with the most expensive concert based on average minimum ticket price in 2025. Number 1, Bruno Mars, $254.29 per ticket. Benson Boone, $151.73 per ticket. Tyler, $142.49 per ticket. The Eagles, not the NFL team, the band, the group, $127.50. Tyler the Creator, $121.77. Dead and Company, $106.50. Pearl Jam, $96.10. Chris Stapleton, $92.30. Oasis, $83.46. And number 10 on the list is Teddy Swims with $79.64.
We know people are paying way more than that. We know people are paying way more than that. Stop, like I'm not even gonna say what I want to say. We know, okay, because we've all paid the double and triple that at some point. That's the price. That's the price you set originally, right? And some of your pre-sale people got those prices. No one else did. That's the problem here. That's why you're being sued.
Not only that, but I agree. And on top of that, saying the average concert is very vague. The average concert of what genre? The average concert in what area, right? Because people in New York City are not paying the same prices as the people in Omaha, Nebraska, right?
Exactly.
People in LA may not be paying the same prices as people in, Arizona. The prices are not the same in every city. The prices are not the same every night. And so if someone is doing 5 days in a row, like we've seen some of the bigger acts do lately, those ticket prices even vary day to day, right? So like Beyonce, for example, was doing like Wednesday to Sunday in some locations. Those ticket prices were not the same every day. So to paint a broad stroke from to say the average ticket price is $72 when we're talking about Live Nation, who does every concert almost, is not really specific enough
Data
to
can be skewed to whatever
average
story you want to tell.
Right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Now that also doesn't tell us the range of artists that you're discussing, right? So it's easy to paint this picture and say, compared to a basketball game, tickets are much cheaper. The other thing is, in a basketball game, yeah, those tickets might be higher, but the prices don't change as drastically as they do at the concerts. Front row seats to a basketball game is also very different than a concert. It's also just a terrible comparison because a concert and a basketball game are not the same in any way, right? No. If I live in New York and I decide I want to see the Knicks, do you know I have 82 chances to see the Knicks? Let's just say half. Let's say they play half their games away and half their games here. That means I have 40 chances this season, to see them. I don't have 40 chances to see Beyonce this year in New York, or any act in New York 40 times.
And there's another piece to that when you talk about sporting events. If the Knicks are doing well, you're gonna pay more money. There is dynamic pricing in place for stuff like that. Or if they make it to the playoffs, the finals, whatever, then yes, you will pay more money. It does, things do start to get dictated by the way the season is going, the way the NBA is looking overall, like who's going to be Eastern Conference, who's going to be Western. That makes sense. Dynamic pricing for that makes sense. Like I'm sure the analytics there makes sense. Don't show me any analytics about concerts because you can skew that data to anything you want. And like you said, it's not the same thing. A concert with we use Beyonce, we always do. Beyonce or Kendrick Lamar, they're going on tour. They're pretty much doing the same show every night, everywhere they go. We know they're going to switch it up. We know the sets are going to be a little bit different. We know that Beyonce, a lot of times, part of the way through her tour, she will switch up what she's doing. I get that. Please don't go in the comments and tell me about how Beyonce did one thing in LA and another thing in New York. I don't care. The point here is that the concert is not going to be drastically different
Right.
from one night to the next. So yeah, the thing you're contending with is location, day of the week, like you said. Okay, we know all of those things. We know that a Friday or a Saturday show is going to be more expensive than a Tuesday show or a Wednesday show. I think we all understand that. I just don't like the way they make us look like we don't understand that we're being disadvantaged, and they're treating concert going like it's something only certain people can go to, because that's
Right.
ultimately what's happening. It's getting to a point where you're pricing certain people out, and they will never be able
Yep.
to go because it will be way too expensive. Everyone cannot pay $500 for a ticket. And a lot of and
Right.
concert going, while I think it's perfectly fine to go to a concert by yourself, concert going by and large is something that people like to do as a group activity or as a pair, or they like to do it with other people, have that experience with
Right.
other people. So now we're not just talking about $500 for you, but I gotta find the $500 for me too if I want to roll. I don't.
Right.
I just. You know why I'm
Also,
mad?
it's also. Oh, go ahead. You first.
I was just gonna say. You know why I'm mad? Because it's fine if that's what it is. That's that's okay. But to come out and publicly make it seem like, oh, actually, guys, we're doing you a favor by not raising the prices. Miss me with that, because that's just.
Well, actually, that's not what he said. He said we still have a lot of room left, meaning we still got plenty of room to raise prices. That's what that
Yeah,
meant.
yeah, yeah. But I feel like I guess I feel like the notion there is that, you know, you haven't seen what we could do, and we're sparing you that. I feel like that's the
Right.
notion there. Like, yeah, you should be paying $1,200, but you only paid 120. Well, how many people really paid 120? What, the people who stayed up all night so they could get in the queue at 8 o'clock in the morning? Just
Yeah, I think he meant the opposite. I meant he get ready because I think he meant get
gear
ready
up for
because it's
more
about to
for
be a
higher
buck 20.
prices? Well,
Yeah,
that would be silly for them to raise prices right now
it
in the
would
middle
be.
of a pro.
But what I was gonna say is, yeah, in the middle of this probe, this investigation, it wouldn't be smart. I agree, but they've been raising prices a lot, and also resale prices are ridiculous, right? And so all of those things combined with today's current economy, this to me sounded like a comment coming from someone who really is not in touch with the average person, because the economy is not good right now. So saying, "Hey guys, you're pretty lucky that the concert tickets are so low right now."
Mhm.
It's like, no, the economy is not good right now. So to say that
No.
we're lucky and that concerts are cheap, you really sound like you're out of touch with the average person. And he's the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world, right?
Of
So,
course.
okay, maybe he is just out of touch.
Of
And that's
course.
okay if he's out of touch, but then you should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I agree. I've heard celebrities say that
That's my
concert
feeling,
tickets were too
cuz
expensive.
everybody's not in touch with the average person.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
I was saying I've heard celebrities say that concert tickets were too expensive. I feel like when the people who probably have it better are also complaining that they think this is ridiculous, it's like, those are not usually the people I go to for takes on things like this. But I just find it interesting that we're all
Right.
feeling the same way. We're all feeling the pressure of, oh, I would love to be entertained too, but come on, this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Because not just because you
No.
have money means you
No,
should
I
spend it
totally
on
agree with you.
everything. Sorry,
Right.
there's a lag.
No, I know, I could tell. because your audio is coming out and then your video is coming after.
Yeah.
I think it caught up now, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the other thing is, we may not know the data he knows about how much each concert costs, but what we do know is multiple sources have confirmed that in the last 5 years, concert tickets have soared through the roof. So it's not like we're all just making this up.
And as someone who works with data every day, again, you can skew data to, you can tell the story however you need to tell the story with the data you have. It doesn't mean that you're dishonest, but it means if you have facts and figures that you can show, because you could say the average concert price where in the US, because it could just be that. Oh, it could. My point is there are a lot of different ways to swing it when you're trying to paint a picture or you're trying to tell a story. That's what a lot of people and a lot of companies like this use data for. So I just feel like, come on. That's all I got.
And you're right. It's easier to do that. In addition, it's easier to do that when you're the CEO of such a large company.
Yeah. There's a lot of buy-in. People believe what you're saying because you're the boss.
Yeah. It looks like your video is trying to catch up.
Okay.
Can you see and hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Well, let's talk about another big company. This comes from the New York Post. It says here, breaking. Google announced Tuesday that it was going to reinstate YouTube accounts banned for posting then controversial content related to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to a letter its attorney sent to a House panel. I'm glad they are reinstating these accounts.
Yeah.
But before I jump in, what do you think? Before I,
I've talked a lot. I've talked a lot. Please. I've said a lot. They're probably like, "Whoa, she's awake today." Yeah, maybe I am.
I think it's good. You're funny. I think it's good that they're reinstating these accounts. I don't think these accounts ever should have been banned. Were there people specifically trying to misspread information, intentionally trying to misspread information? Yes, absolutely. But that wasn't everybody. And we saw that accounts left and right, no pun intended, I don't mean Democrat and Republic, I mean like many people, were getting banned for less. Even if you were giving your opinion and saying, well, I think this about vaccines, or I think this about this medicine, or I think this about what Joe Rogan is recommending. Even those accounts were being banned. And so I never thought that was good. I spoke out against it when it was happening. I will continue to speak out against it. And I think that we get into a really weird position where we're on these platforms and we rely on these platforms to spread our message, share our thoughts, build community, etc. But these platforms ultimately have the say-so of what we can and cannot do on their platforms. They can change the rules whenever they want. Most of us are not reading the rules when they change them unless there's like a big press release, right? Yeah. They change the terms and conditions. We all just hit agree or okay and keep going. So it's their platform. They have the power to make these changes. I'm not saying they don't have the right to remove these people. I'm simply saying I never agreed with these people being removed, especially the ones who were sharing their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the whole thing is about opinions and community and free speech, then it should remain that way. I'm not saying that you should allow people to purposely, intentionally spread misinformation, but I
Mm-hmm.
think fine, if you want to remove those people, I can understand that, right? I can understand if there's clear data that says people are doing X, Y, and Z, and I come on and say, well, that is a lie, and this and this, and spread all this misinformation. I can understand whether I agree or not. But removing people who are doing exactly what the platform is built for, sharing their thoughts and opinions, and just trying to continue to do the same things that your platform says that
Mm-hmm.
it's for, then I disagree with that. You want to demonetize them, that's a conversation. Again, there's a lot of things you can do, but I think completely banning them and removing them, I think that was messed up. I'm glad they're being reinstated, and I hope they learn from this, because yeah, it was controversial then, but now it's not, right? And so now you're
Yeah.
saying, okay, we're gonna let them come back. But if I was one of those creators, I probably wouldn't come back. I probably would stay wherever I've been the last couple of years, because y'all
Yeah.
already messed with my livelihood, my community, my
Mm-hmm.
psyche. Why would I just come back? So
Agree.
that's my thought.
I feel like that was so long ago. It's going to be harder to get people to say, "Yeah, I'm gonna get back on there." I mean, and people pivot, and I know a big creator who creator is such a seems like such a small word for this man, but I'm not going to reveal who it is.
Right.
Uh, a very important person in this country. Um, Left, was banned from YouTube and made the pivot to Rumble and was very successful on Rumble. So I think, and I know everybody doesn't like Rumble for one reason or another. I'm not saying that to advocate for it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying people make the pivot. People decide that they're going to go elsewhere. They're going to take their talents elsewhere. So I don't know how much this will mean. I think it would be interesting if any of these creators came out and discussed this and how they feel about this, because I'd love to know what people think. I don't know if I would be running back to a platform that banned me for some, especially like you said, the people who were simply giving their opinions,
Right.
um and not spreading misinformation, because yeah, there were a lot of those people who did that, and I understood that more than I understood the people who were just like, this is what I think. And, you know, I think over the last several years, we've had a lot to contend with when it comes to what people can and cannot say, or should and should not say. And we continue to deal with that and battle that.
Yeah.
And these private companies, like you said, we rely on these places, these spaces to share what we have to share. All the while, they get to pull the strings. They get to control how it goes, what we can do, what we can't do. They get to enforce or impose their own views on us in a matter of speaking. So I'm glad to see that they're trying to take some sort of corrective action, but also curious how people feel about this. I don't have a specific creator in mind, but I'm just wondering what they're thinking. And do you grin and bear it and you go and you start a new channel, or reignite your old channel or whatever it is, or do you just say, you know what, I I've done pretty well without this,
Right.
and I don't I don't need it.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. I just want to clear something up. Just to be clear for the audience, when I say spreading misinformation, I don't mean that the person read something and then said, based on what I read, these are my thoughts. I mean that there was people specifically saying things at that time that was clearly misinformation.
That was not true. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
so because I want to be clear when I say that I'm not saying for vaccines or against vaccines. I'm not even talking
Mm-hmm.
about that. I just mean
Yeah.
information in general. There are people in this world who they say, well, this is a pen. I say, no, I'm gonna purposely say that's a pencil.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but we could just click this and see that it writes in a specific
Right.
like way. We could see that that's clearly a pen. It's like, yeah, but I'm gonna still say it's a pencil. It's like that is different than the people saying,
Yeah.
I think this is pink. Actually, I think it's a whole different color. I don't think it's fuchsia. What do you think?
Right.
That is different. And so I just want to be
Or
clear
people.
for the audience.
Yeah, or people who know that what you're saying about the pen is not true and go out into the world and share that as if it is true. Because
Right.
that happens too,
Right.
where maybe I'm not the one who came up with the thought, but I kind of like what you said, even though I know it's not true,
Right.
or even though it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I'm gonna go repeat it to other people now.
Yeah. So
That is the spreading of misinformation for
right.
sure.
And so I mean, I'm talking about the people who are purposely doing it. We
Yeah.
sometimes even us up here will say something and say, "Hey, according to this source, this is
Right.
what's happening." And then later you find out, "Hey guys, I was wrong. And that source
Yeah.
was wrong. This is actually the information we have now." I'm not talking about that. That
Mm-hmm.
happens and that's a mistake. That's fine. I'm talking about the people who are like purposely doing this, continuously doing this. That's what I mean when I say the people who are purposely spreading misinformation. So I just want to be clear what I mean by that. Um, so people understand what I'm saying, because I know at that time there was a lot of stuff in the gray area
Mm-hmm.
regarding vaccines, treatments, what was happening on a day-to-day basis, what the stats were, what the studies were, what was happening in real time. I'm not talking about the people in the gray area who shared opinions or made mistakes with what they said. I'm speaking about the people who
Mm-hmm.
purposely said this is A when it was Y.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
No, I
continue
got
to
you.
do that, right? Because you don't get banned for doing it once. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
So I just want to clear that up. So yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. All right, I think we're done here, man. Y'all enjoy your weekend. This has been Weeknights, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.